They never looked back. At age 6, I watched my parents vanish into the crowd at JFK Airport, my tiny blue mittens clutching a worn stuffed bear as their voices faded. "Stay right here, sweetie. We'll be quick." But the gates swallowed them whole, and they never returned. 30 years later, those same faces, Victor and Margaret Ellis, strode into my courtroom, grinning like victors, ready to claim the fortune I'd inherited. They had no idea the abandoned little girl had become the one in the black robe. And the secret I'd guarded all these years? It was about to bury them. The memory still chills me. Terminal 7 buzzed with hurried travelers, announcements crackling overhead, wheels clacking on the tile. I was 6, bundled against the December draft, my blue mittens too big, dragging my bear along the floor. Victor and Margaret moved briskly ahead, glancing at flight boards, their steps perfectly matched, never once checking if I kept up. "Wait by the carousel," they said casually, pointing to the oversized luggage area. "Don't wander." Their eyes held no worry, only a flicker of something like release. I obeyed, perching on a cold bench, counting suitcases as they circled endlessly. 10, 50, 200. The terminal emptied, lights dimming, echoes growing louder in the quiet. By 500, the truth sank in like ice water. This wasn't an accident. They had chosen to leave me. The vast emptiness crushed my chest, teaching a child that some silences scream louder than any words. Then he arrived, a kind stranger in a navy coat, unremarkable yet steady. He crouched down, not crowding me, just present. "Hey, kiddo. I'm Edward." Airport security hovered, ready to call authorities, but he waved them off gently. He waited with me through the chaos of police reports, temporary placements, and finally, he made it permanent. Edward adopted me quietly, raising me with simple values and unwavering support. He never sought praise, living modestly while building wealth in the shadows through smart investments. Only after his passing did I discover he'd left it all to me, $6.2 million. The windfall didn't erase the scars, but it made the world finally see me. And the first knock wasn't from long-lost relatives, it was a process server. Victor and Margaret Ellis were suing, claiming I'd been lost on a family trip, that they'd suffered unimaginable grief, and that as my devastated parents, they deserved the inheritance. I read their filing in disbelief, the papers trembling slightly in my hands. Every line was scripted theater, tales of endless searches, shattered lives, a daughter's tragic disappearance. But I knew better. They weren't grieving, they were grifting. Folding my old blue mittens in my lap like a relic, I felt the old anger rise, slow and controlled. I wasn't that helpless child anymore. I was Judge Elena Reyes, honed by decades of discipline, observation, and unyielding patience. I didn't lash out. Instead, I hired Marcus Hale, a brilliant forensic investigator known for unearthing buried truths in financial trails. "Start from 1995, I told him. Every bank record, insurance claim, property deed, go deep." As he worked, the airport haunted me anew, the endless carousel, the flickering fluorescence, the way abandonment felt like drowning in air. It had forged me, teaching restraint, strategy, the power of waiting. Then Marcus called one rainy evening. Check this. On his screen, a 1995 lawsuit against the airline for losing an unaccompanied minor en route to a family emergency. They'd won a massive payout. But the killer, the attached sworn statement, signed by Victor and Margaret themselves, legally declaring me presumed dead to seal the deal. Fury mingled with icy resolve. They'd profited from my death once, new cars, lavish trips, gambling sprees, while I navigated foster homes. Now they wanted round 2. But they'd sued in my jurisdiction, reopening wounds I'd turned into weapons. With Marcus's findings, receipts, transfers, timelines, I built an airtight counter. Not just defense. Exposure.
Court day arrived.
The room smelled of polished oak and tension. Victor and Margaret entered smugly, their lawyer trailing with polished briefs. They barely glanced my way, assuming the judge would be impartial or intimidated. The bailiff intoned, "All rise." They stood confidently as their witnesses spun tales of parental anguish. I presided silently from the bench, my expression neutral, letting lies build like a house of cards. Then I called my surprise witness, Sophia Ellis, their younger daughter, the replacement child raised in the shadow of my fabricated tragedy. She took the stand, voice steady despite trembling hands, unraveling their facade, hidden spending sprees timed with grief, coerced family photos for sympathy, years of manipulation. Panic flickered in their eyes. Their lawyer objected futilely. Finally, I revealed the affidavit, their own signatures proclaiming me dead. The clerk read it aloud, each word a thunderclap. Gasps rippled. Victor paled. Margaret clutched the table. Rising slowly, I addressed them directly. You discarded me, cashed in on my absence, and dared to return for more. But justice doesn't forget. The gavel fell. Case dismissed. Plaintiffs referred for fraud, perjury, and attempted theft. Officers escorted them out amid their protests. For the first time, I breathed freely. The hunted had become the arbiter. Later, with Sophia at my side, I founded the Lost and Found Haven, using the inheritance to aid abandoned kids transitioning to adulthood. No one would feel invisible again. Months on, we shared coffee in a sunny cafe, my blue mittens tucked away as an emblem of triumph. Sophia smiled genuinely, burdens lifted. The past had scarred us, but we'd reclaimed the future. One truth, one act of kindness at a time. Betrayal cuts deep, but resilience runs deeper. What they never saw coming. The child they left grew into the one who ended their game.